Three, two, one. We're live.
Hello.
That's awesome. We figured it
I know.
out.
I'm proud
so
of us.
glad.
I'm proud of us. We did it.
Well, waiting for Bear to finish her food that's not
Do
there.
your thing, Bear. Do your thing.
Yeah, because you're going to hear in the background the bowl.
She's like,
Welcome back to Nothing About Something. I am your host, Lauren, and today we have a very special guest, Miss Destiny.
hi, everybody.
Thank you for coming on the show. I appreciate it. Destiny is a huge supporter of our show from day one. She was the first person to DM me and ask about the show.
Oh, really?
So, yes.
Oh,
yes,
that's
you
so
are.
sweet. I love that.
Yeah. So before we get started, I did want to touch a little bit on Destiny's Dream Farm. Can you tell our audience a little bit about what it is that you do?
Yes. So I'm Destiny, obviously. I own a nonprofit. Right now I'm fundraising to buy property to rehabilitate animals in need. I actually have my merch on right now. Shameless plug. I've been wanting to do this since I was a little girl, and the idea came about when I was trying to rehome a stray, and I realized that one of the shelters in San Antonio was going to be euthanizing. They said over 35 dogs.
Wow.
If I could bring the stray the next day, they just had to have room. Immediately, I thought, like, I can't do this. Just hearing that really makes me, I hope it makes everybody pretty sad, because that means that there's something wrong. So I came up with this idea, and I'm inspired by Alyssa's Animal Sanctuary and by God's Dogs. God's Dogs is in the San Antonio area. Right now, I do garage sales to help fundraise and buy property. I'm also in real estate school to help me figure out the best way to buy land and get that started. Hopefully I'll buy land in a year or two. I'm just saving right now. So keep me in your prayers. Thank you.
That's amazing.
Thank
I am
you.
so happy, and I love what you do. It takes a special person
Thank you,
to
Lauren.
do what you do. I mean, I can barely take care of myself and my one dog.
Yeah, it's a challenge.
Having a farm for Minnie, that is absolutely
you.
incredible. I have gone through a few dogs, unfortunately, that I haven't been able to take care of. That's
Yeah.
been really hard trying to figure out where to put
Yeah.
them. You don't want to give them to just anybody because they could end up on the side of the
Yes.
road. Having somewhere that people can bring their pets to,
Yeah.
if worst case scenario, or just pets that they find,
Yeah.
it would be so amazing.
And
So,
if you're in a situation, which I have a friend right now that needs somebody to watch her dog literally for a month, and she will provide food, toys, she'll come visit, all of those things. If that was your situation, if you had to move or you were going through a family emergency, maybe someone passed and you just really can't provide for your pet during that time, Destiny's Dream Farm, we will watch them for a month, however long. Contractually, we'll have to get some paperwork legally, but I just want to provide opportunities for people so they don't think that dropping them off on the side of the street is their only option.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep. And the more you educate people about places for animals to go, the more equipped people are going to feel
Absolutely.
being able to pass their pet
Yes.
on or have that help in a month
Yeah.
instead of just having to dump them off at the shelter. So
Absolutely.
that is amazing.
Thank
I'm so
you.
excited. We're going to have to insert little clips
Yeah,
on the YouTube video
absolutely.
of your merch and your cookies
Yeah.
and everything. If somebody wanted to buy merch or
Yeah.
to donate, where would they go to do that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I have an Instagram. It's at Destiny's Dream Farm. And there you'll find out how to buy merch and my information, my email. You can direct message me or even text or call me. My number's on there as well. And I drop off and pick up donations from people. I meet people. I literally will drive. I have driven 2 hours to get things before. And thankfully, my gas is a tax write-off. A lot of these things are beneficial for me when I do get overwhelmed or, if I'm struggling a little bit, I just remind myself that I'm a nonprofit. So a lot of these things can be written off. It's very rewarding. It really is. We'll leave all those links in the bio if that's okay.
Yeah. Awesome. And I already know a ton of people that can donate. So I'll make sure to send them your way.
Thank you.
Are you ready to get
I'm ready.
started?
Yeah, I'm ready. This is so fun.
Oh, are you ready?
Wait, we're making another one?
Shit. So today's what?
You're
Today's
fine. You're fine.
I like to leave that stuff in where I
Yes.
stutter my way
'Cause
through
you're
my
real.
podcast.
'Cause you're real.
Oh yeah. So it's called Cinematic Echoes: How Movies and TVs Shapes Our World. I'm just going to preface this.
Yeah.
I grew up not really allowed to watch a lot of things on TV. There was only a few things that I was allowed to watch.
Yeah.
I never watched SpongeBob, never watched Star Wars,
Yeah.
never watched any of these super pivotal shows in people's lives that everybody would say, oh my gosh, how have you not seen this? Or they'll
Yeah.
reference a movie and I have no idea what they're talking about because I never got to watch a lot
Yeah.
of that. A lot of it is because my mom believes so much in how screens can affect kids. She actually told me that she didn't want me to watch SpongeBob because she thought I would act crazy like SpongeBob. So she would not let me watch it. Today's episode is really going to dive into that and figure out, you know, what is real as far as the TV. Does it help us? Does it not help us? How does it shape the way we act?
I want to pinpoint off of that because my family's, I don't like the word religious, but my family's really close to God. So growing up, we were not allowed to watch Family Guy, The Simpsons, any of those things. And as an adult now, I still don't know if I want kids. I'd love kids. Personally, if I was to have kids, I would not want them to watch certain things. Granted, I love SpongeBob. My friends actually get mad at me because they think that I'm a SpongeBob hater, but SpongeBob's cool. It's just a different type of humor. No offense, guys. Please don't cancel me. However, I completely understand because my parents, literally, we were not allowed to watch certain things. Big no-no. Big no-no. Yeah.
Yep.
So we're in a similar boat,
Same
for
way.
sure.
Family Guy was absolutely no. Simpsons was absolutely no.
Yeah.
I did watch Family Guy later in life and shows like Big Mouth, and I can get on board
Yeah.
with things like that now, but it's still not. I mean,
It's
I don't
different
even watch
watching as an
TV.
adult and as a child, for sure.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
as a child, you don't even get some of the jokes and the humor. I understand. Yeah, completely.
There's a method to the madness.
For sure.
Just to preface, all of the research I did is backed by articles that I will link in the description. I'm not just talking about out of my ass here.
Yeah.
For the most part, this stuff is directly information that I have found off of research articles and, you know, .edu, .org, those types of websites. It's not just blog posts. I'm not pretending, as one of the comments said, I'm not pretending to be a Harvard professor. So I do want to disclose I did not go to Harvard. I went to good old Texas State. So and I didn't study psychology.
Yeah.
Just
well,
so
people
you know.
are going to hate no matter what. So I've done podcasting. I've done all the social media stuff. You could literally hand somebody $1 million and they would still find something to be negative about. So that's not on you.
Yep. One of the very first things I found was reviewed by the New York Times, and it said that quality shows can actually influence people in very important ways, such as shaping their thinking, their political preferences, and even affecting their cognitive ability. All of this stuff we're going to dive in a little bit more as we get into the episode. But I did find something that contradicted this. It said, on the other hand, a study reviewed by Psych Central found that leisure activities, such as watching movies, can actually boost your mood and reduce symptoms of depression. So we're going to go from one end of the spectrum to kind of the other. But the first thing I really want to touch on is the emotional impact of watching TVs and movies. And I think whenever we talk emotional impact, the very first thing that comes to mind, well, what is the very first thing that comes to your mind? If you think emotional impact, you think movies. Like the very first thing you think of just off the bat?
I think of The Notebook.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So like Love Story. Does The Notebook change how you view relationships at all?
Depending on when I'm watching it. The first time I watched it, I was probably 13 or 14. And then I watched it again when I was like 18 or 19. And then 23, I need to watch it again. I can watch a movie a month apart and see it a totally different way than before. So it really depends on when and what mindset I'm in when watching.
Would you say that it emotionally impacted you in any way?
Yes.
Okay.
I have a fear of dementia more.
Oh my gosh.
And it runs in my family. My grandpa has dementia. And my mom always makes unreasonable jokes. Love you, Mom. And I don't blame her. I think it's one of those things where you're scared of something, so you joke about it to get like more familiar with it. And my mom, now that we know my grandpa has it, when my mom makes jokes, that's one of her favorite movies. When she makes jokes about dementia, I'm like, oh my God, that actually could happen to any of us in our family. So it's scary.
Yeah, on that hand, it almost seems like The Notebook kind of impacted you a little bit negatively, just in the fact that now you're aware of something that could happen and you almost fixated on it a little bit more because you heard about it. What I found when doing research is watching stressful movies may actually make us feel better in the long run, because temporary stress releases cortisol, which automatically met with dopamine once the stress is erased. This emotional roller coaster may be very beneficial to viewers. Basically, when you're watching, and this would probably go a little bit more for intense movies like thriller and horror rather than a love story. But if you're watching something that's super intense, the murderer's in the house and the person's running away and you're going through all these emotions, but then the movie ends and then you are hit with that dopamine now and you can kind of relax and you can breathe. It's almost a stress relief is what this is saying. So, and it won't be the same for everybody, but that could also be something that's beneficial, is just watching movies to kind of release that stress. It's not your life, I guess.
You know what's weird that you mentioned that? I love movies. I go out of my way to go to movie theaters. Like, I just love the experience because I actually get to relax. When I'm at home, I will find something to do like laundry or color or something because of my ADHD.
Yes.
Every time I watch a movie, whether it's Don't Worry, Darling, or a scary movie, or Knives Out, or a romance movie, or a very sad thriller, or even any movie, every time I remember this vividly, sit at the edge of my seat, take a deep breath, and then just sit there in my thoughts. And I always have to sit and talk to whoever I'm there with and be like, what was that? Whether it was good, bad, whatever it is, it's like you're on a high, and then sometimes the endings are not good. Like, Don't Worry, Darling is one of my favorite movies with Harry Styles. Love you, Harry Styles. And the ending kind of leaves you wondering, like, you have no idea what happened. So when I took a deep breath, I wasn't like relieved. I was almost like, I don't know what happened. And that leaves you to decide what happens with your imagination. And then you hyperfixate for an hour after and do research. It's a feeling for sure.
Which is almost more stressful that they bring you on that emotional roller coaster.
Yeah.
Because you're thinking about it after.
You're like, how could you do this to me? Why would you do this to me?
Yes, and it's all consuming.
Yeah.
But, I mean, there is a reason they do that. Because the stronger emotional response that they can get from you as a viewer means that the more invested you're going to be in that movie, and ultimately the more money that movie is going to make.
It's all about the money.
So, follow the money is a huge saying. Follow the money. So this emotional connection is really important for filmmakers with your audience, just to make sure that you are invested. So they've actually done a really good job if you leave the movie.
No, for sure. And then I do the whole Rotten Tomatoes research.
Yes.
I never know how to feel about them.
Yeah. I try not to research movies if I'm watching it. I try to just go and see
Decide for yourself. Yeah. That's good.
Yeah, but, sometimes I'm disappointed. Sometimes it's actually really good. It's just kind of a toss in the air.
For sure.
But kind of on that topic of how movies are really, their purpose is to evoke emotional response in you, I was researching the mirror rule. And so basically what the mirror rule is a phenomenon of the brain mimicking the emotional state of characters on the screen, leading to an emotional response in the viewer. So in addition to the mirror rule, filmmakers have had the opportunity to convey emotions using various techniques such as lighting, camera angles, etc. Sound effects also play a really significant role in heightening the emotions of the film. So all of these factors, the character development, the sounds, all of the different elements that they put into a scene is going to factor into our emotional state during the movie and after. If you think about it, if you're watching a scary movie and it doesn't have that music in the background, that gory, is it really that scary?
Yeah. It might be a little cringe.
Yeah, exactly. But that music really, something about that music that does something to us where we decide, oh shit, that something's about to happen. Somebody's about to pop out. But if you had that bitch on mute, it wouldn't bother you.
It would not be scary. No. You could even add a different sound and make it funny or weird or cringy.
Yeah. It almost makes me think about the insert the audience laughter that people used to do back in the day. Seinfeld's one of my favorite shows. I actually based my podcast off of Seinfeld because I love Seinfeld so much. Nothing about something.
Yeah.
But Seinfeld has that constant laughter after they tell a joke.
Yeah.
And once you tune into that, you can't tune out.
Yeah.
So all I hear is this ha 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 in the background.
Yeah.
But if you think about it, that's what makes you laugh because you're hearing other people laugh.
It's like a subliminal thing. Which is kind of scary.
Yeah.
If you think about it.
Oh, yeah. Subliminal messages, that's a whole other topic. And I definitely think we'll get into that a little bit when we discuss the children and how movies impact children.
And the emotions they evoke without even realizing. And then you realize later as you get older especially.
Yeah, it's scary what just a little bit of music can do just without an audience.
Yeah.
Even if Alexa plays some kind of spooky music in my apartment, nothing's going on, I'm automatically going to be freaked the fuck out because Alexa's playing a song and it's like, oh my gosh, where did that come from? Now I am in that scary movie.
Yes.
So it's just really crazy the different techniques that they can use to really push us on this roller coaster.
And it's also crazy how, for instance, I'm watching The Last of Us on HBO. So good. Have you watched it? You need to watch it.
What's it about?
It's kind of like the end of the world vibes, kind of zombie virus situation. They're like not zombies, but they're similar.
Okay.
Virus is going on and it keeps mutating. And pretty much the third episode, Nick Offerman's in it. And then another actor that I love a lot, Pedro Pascal, the main guy's so hot. Okay. Anyway, but they use an older song in it. They did something similar with Stranger Things, Running Up the Hill. And it's crazy how some of these artists haven't been played a lot or they even pass away. And the show or movie can make their sales and their plays go up so much, and then they get royalties. Some of them aren't even alive, so their families are getting the royalties. That's crazy to me. The song from The Last of Us, I literally listen to it like 10 times a day.
Wow.
And I have never heard the song in my entire life, and now I can't stop thinking about it. And every time I listen, I think of the show.
Proof that stuff comes back, but also proof that we attach different sounds to movies. I mean, if you think about it, there's so many songs out there that Here Comes the Boom comes to my head. It was this movie about a wrestler. I'm so bad with actors, so
I've heard of the movie, but I don't know the actors. Yeah.
Well, they have this song. It's like Here Comes the Boom. They play that song, and every time I hear that song, I immediately think of that movie. I don't think of the song, who made the song. I don't care. I just think about that movie. And so it's really crazy how movies can make you think of music and vice versa. So,
and it's crazy because behind the scenes, as a listener of you're not thinking about it, but that's like a Hollywood networking thing. Like, oh, my friend has this song, or I just really liked this artist when I was younger. My grandpa's favorite album. You're not realizing that it's all based off emotions and people, and they're like plugging each other in. Like you're plugging my farm in. You know what I mean? That's weird, but it's cool. It's really neat.
That is a very interesting perspective.
Yeah.
I've never thought about that, but I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah.
They're all peers.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't they?
We do that in our regular day-to-day lives, so pretty cool.
Okay. Well, kind of in line with that, how the songs, it impacts us every day. So there has been evidence to show that what we see on TV, on movies, actually affects our perception of reality and plays a role in shaping our knowledge of the world, including public opinions and societal perceptions. Just think about that.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah.
Think about the news. It's so easy. Just think about the news. If you listen to Fox News versus CNN, you know what perspective you're going to have with Fox News versus if you listen to CNN.
Yeah.
And you know, if somebody was stuck in a room and they had no communication with the outside world whatsoever except for CNN News, how they would view the world just because of that media outlet. So 100%, that point is entirely believable to me that TV impacts us so much.
I could watch a movie and literally within an hour buy something on Amazon. It's crazy. And I can't even imagine how much money they make off those. People don't even realize that companies are working together. Like, I'm going to pay you this much, or we're going to do this deal, and you'll have my soda or my shoe brand or my shirt, whatever it is, makeup. And then behind the scenes, we're not realizing how much money they're making on sales. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm. You just see it in the show, and
you might not
marketing.
even realize, and you're not even realize you're being influenced, or you might be watching it, and then the next day you're like, wow, I don't know where I thought of it, but I really want purple shoes or pink heels, and then they're actually on the TV, but you're not realizing it.
Oh yeah, that's definitely all in my wheelhouse is subliminal marketing. With a lot of my clients, that's really what we try and do on social media is we are marketing to you, and we want you to realize we're marketing to you without directly marketing to you. Now,
because it's not so in your face.
Correct. Yeah. Correct. If I say, come get a haircut and come do this at this location, nobody's going to listen to it. But if I show you a picture of a haircut that we did on somebody and you don't say anything, you just say how great their hair looks, you're going to be more intrigued, and that's going to sit with you and be like, oh, you know what? I saw a post. Somebody got their haircut recently and it looked really good. Let me go back and find it. You go through your likes and you figure it out, and then you go get a haircut at that salon. Subliminal marketing is insane. And they're always going to do it in movies, especially with Apple. You can tell who had permission from Apple versus who didn't in movies, where they'll cover it up.
For sure.
That's crazy.
That's smart with the marketing. I will chime in. I do that a lot on Instagram, and this sounds so bad, but I like to play bimbo a lot because I have noticed over time that I'd rather surprise people and prove myself without having to say something. So on social media, I'm very open with I'm just a very confident person. I'm very open with my body, and I've been that way since high school. Granted, I made sure I was 18 when I started being a little bit more open, consent. And for a long time, I had family, old-fashioned friends, family would tell me like, Mija, you might not want to have it be so crazy online, because when you do become a realtor or you do own your farm, people are not going to take you seriously. And then I'll go back and I'll show them, okay, well, my analytics show that 85 people saved my picture, 2,000 people saw it, 80 comments, 600 likes, and I've met multiple people that say, oh, I've seen you on my For You page. Or, oh, I saw you on TikTok. Okay, but you didn't like my video, so you saw me. That happens to me all the time. So in my head, I'm like, just being myself is marketing myself. Granted, I, at the end of the day, decide how people get to choose to affect me, or, I have a boyfriend, so those random guys are not getting access to me. I don't reply to them. If they're nice and wanting to work together, I reply and I see everything. I go and look in my requests and all these things. However, if that's what makes me feel comfortable, and if it's working, then I'm not going to stop doing it. I might tone it down a little. However, I know what I'm doing.
If it ain't broke, don't try and fix it. And
exactly.
I think, I definitely think there's a huge role to play in subliminal marketing. Just you wearing a Destinees Dream Farm shirt, or having something like that in the background of you taking a picture of something. It's a good thing. It will drive more traffic than you believe. And
Lauren is my spirit animal. It's so nice to be around somebody that gets me in that sense, so I don't have to sit and explain everything that I'm doing.
I get you. Marketing's my wheelhouse now.
Yes, good.
Yep. So I guess I want to shift gears a little bit and talk more about mental health. This is such a hot seat topic in 2023. Everybody's worried and concerned about mental health. There's so much awareness going on with mental health. So I'm going to go through and read you some points that I found talking about how movies can actually positively impact mental health, and then how it can negatively impact mental health, because we're always consuming media. there's always something in our face, whether it's our phones, whether it's the TV, whether it's movies. So I think it's really important that we start to talk about how that's impacting our mental health, because now that we're starting to talk about mental health, I think we really need to highlight how these things that we use every single day are really impacting it. One of the things that I found is watching TV and movies has been shown to have a positive impact on health by boosting mood and reducing symptoms of depression. Leisure activities such as watching movies and TV can provide pleasurable distractions and entertainment, which can act as a form of relaxation. And just immediately after reading that, I think, okay, so you're watching a movie as an escape. I'm upset with something in my life and I'm going to watch a movie and that's going to help me escape. I mean, that's true.
I do that.
Yeah.
I do that with TikTok. Like today, I literally had a little situation at work and nothing crazy, so don't get too curious. I was like about to cry and I literally told my boyfriend, I was like, I'm going to go in the restroom and watch TikTok for 2 seconds. Like I need to escape reality.
It's so easy to escape reality. And this source was saying that could be a good thing because you're relaxing and because it's kind of taking you out of that moment. But how good is it really if we get that shot of dopamine from the screens, we go back to our life, we hate it, then we come back for that other dose of it. Are we conditioning ourselves to
It's a Band-Aid. It's a Band-Aid.
Exactly. So anytime we feel bad, I'm just going to whip up my phone.
It's like an addiction. It's like a drug, like alcohol, porn, whatever it is. It's just a Band-Aid. And I feel like I know where they were trying to go, because for me, I do like watching movies and TV because I'm working towards relaxing while doing those things, because I'm so ADD or ADHD from the moment I wake up to the moment I go to sleep. However, my situation earlier was with my sister. Not a big deal, just a miscommunication. If me and my sister didn't have such a strong bond on communication, and, you know, we were both in La La Land and didn't care about making amends on that, I could have gone about my day and then seeing her at dinner in an hour or two. And then there would be tension because we didn't talk about it because I was trying to mask all that into TikTok. However, me and my sister have learned over the years how important communication is to us. So I texted her a big apology, explained myself, explained where I was coming from and why I made a mistake. I put my foot in my mouth. I just made a comment that was dumb. Not realizing it, I spoke too fast. And then she was like, Desi, it's not that big of a deal. I wasn't mad. I was joking with you. But it was one of those situations where it was quick. But had I not apologized, what if she was upset because I didn't, you know? It has its benefits for sure.
It does. And another benefit is some people might not think that same way that you're just talking about. That might not be someone's yeah, it might not be someone's first reaction is to apologize. But one of the other points that I found is actually that consuming media, consuming TikTok, you know, watching these movies can actually help to educate people about mental health, help them, you know, learn good coping strategies, good coping mechanisms. It might be a good thing that you do mask your frustration with some kind of technology, roping it into the TVs and movies. Watching a movie where this couple ends up communicating and you had a fight with your boyfriend, but then you watch on TV how they're communicating with each other and things get better. That might prompt you to then communicate yourself
and make things work. They call it TikTok University.
Yeah.
No, I completely understand. I have probably learned more beneficial things for life and mental health and all the goodies from social media, mostly TikTok. I made a TikTok the other day saying how being on my phone and, you know, on Instagram and TikTok is a form of networking for me, so I don't feel as bad anymore. Granted, I don't do it as long as I used to because I'm busier now. But sometimes when I am on Instagram, half of the pages I follow on my farm page or on TikTok are animal things. So it is educating me. It is improving. It's making me want to have my farm more. So there is benefits for sure.
Helping you learn more about what you're doing too and how to network with people. Yeah, no, I entirely agree. And roping back could positively impact your mental health for that reason, because now you're using it to benefit your life. So you can actually take away a good amount of knowledge from that.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with watching investing videos. My boyfriend does that all the time. He loves watching investing videos. And waste of time? Not really, because he's learning how to invest. He's learning how to spend his money. So even if he's had a really bad day and he turns to these investing videos to make himself feel better.
He's still improving himself. Yeah.
Making himself feel better. Yeah. On the other side of that coin, excessive TV watching without sufficient social connection can be solitary activity and may relate or end up tying to depression, which is another thing I think we see a lot with our younger population, the one that's still in high school, the one that's still living at home, is they are upset with their parents, they're upset with their position in school, and so they go home and they watch this TV, they watch movies, and they completely isolate themselves from friends and family. And that could be such a negative impact, even though you are watching things that might benefit you. In the long run, you're not being benefited at all, because you're locking yourself up.
Like people say, go outside and touch grass. Like, I can tell when I'm not doing that great mentally, because I do suffer from depression, I try to isolate myself. I'm a very social person though, so that's very hard for me. And it's almost like I have these glasses on. I'm seeing things so differently. And then, my friends will invite me out to dinner, or I'll force myself to go work out, or I'm a fighter. I can't stay in that. So if you do stay in that, that's okay. Everyone handles things their own way. However, I can feel like life being put back into me when I do go outside, go for a swim, tan. I always say I'm happiest in the summer.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know. It's something about socializing and being outside. As you can tell, I am a social person, so those things do a lot for me. But when during COVID, when we were all locked up, or when you're sick and you have to be by yourself, things like that, I can just tell mentally my emotions are just going downhill because there's nothing to do. Yeah.
Go outside and touch grass. I like that.
Yeah. But I don't know where I got that from, but people say that. Yeah.
I've heard that. Go touch grass. Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree with you. Socialization plays a huge role in people's mental health. So if you are constantly consuming media, you're constantly watching movies and TV and not interacting with people, your mental health can dramatically decline, because when you come out of that reality, the reality of which you're living in is not one that you want to be in. And it almost makes this repetitive, toxic cycle of going back to that, because you get that dopamine rush and you get that satisfaction. And your life sucks beyond that. So there's no reason for you to actually try and make that friends, because it's just going to upset you more. So go to something that's going to make you happy, and it can have that negative cycle.
And you find what hobbies or things or people make you happy. And you also find people that make you feel a certain way, or things that you don't like. And that's a part of growing up. And you want to avoid those things when you're not doing so good. When my mental health isn't that great, I try to avoid certain things, and not because I'm being mean or anything, just because my tolerance level is a little different and I'm a little bit more impatient at the time, and I wouldn't hate to explode on anyone, which I've done before, unfortunately. However, struggling with mental health, I have to be extremely patient with myself and honest, and a very apologetic person, almost to a fault. So I've done my fair share of apologies, but I'll make sure to explain myself and explain a lot of times like that was on me, not them. But I have a question for you. My family's very aware of how I am on my social medias and with my farm stuff and trying to market myself, and I do all the platforms, so it's like a lot. It's not just Instagram or just TikTok. Like, I am putting my eggs in a lot of baskets. So I know my answer, but do you ever have to put your phone down and take a breather?
Yes.
Okay, explain that.
Yes. Oh my gosh, yes. I love my phone. I work for my phone. My phone provides me so much education, money. I make a living from my phone. Yeah. But I do have to put it down. And when I find that time is typically in the gym. because
Yes.
there's so much noise with my podcast. I mean, the first few episodes got so many negative comments. I was getting so much noise just from that.
Yeah.
Then I have my clients calling me and asking me questions, and they're talking to me and they're wondering about a post, and I messed up on a spelling error on one post. And so then I have that feedback coming in. I'm worried about how many likes and comments all my other clients' accounts are doing. I'm also beginning of the month, so I'm reporting for them. And then you have that social element. So then I have my own personal social media page, but then I have my business page. And then I have people that are texting me and calling me and just want to be my friend and talk to me.
Yeah.
And there's so much noise that I have to put it down.
No.
And sometimes I don't have that. I don't feel like I can.
Because from a social media point of view and somebody that's an entrepreneur, I can relate, Lauren, an hour off of your phone can set you back so much. It is like so crazy. And granted, we're very thankful for our jobs and our life and the opportunities that we have. But I battle with that so much. I literally get the worst headache sometimes because I work an 8-hour shift, or sometimes I'll work a 14, 15-hour shift. I have multiple jobs and I always try to give 100% to people. I'll be in the car with my boyfriend and we're just listening to music and it's silent. So I'm like, okay, let me talk to some people. Let me reply to some stuff. I need to pick up donations later, yada, yada, yada. All happy. I'm not being negative. And then my boyfriend starts talking to me, and I always do this, and I hate that I do this, but I'm like, hold on, baby. Let me just send this. Let me just post this. Let me just reply to this. Let me like this. But when you are an entrepreneur, when you are the source of your income, if you don't work or you're out of town for a week, that's on you. And that's a lot of pressure. Granted, I did choose this life and I'm happy, but it's a lot of pressure. It's a lot. I think 2023 started and I told myself I was going to do a social media break. And then the next day I started revamping the farm stuff again. And I was like, oh my gosh, the only time I get a break really is when I sleep. And of course I'm thankful. However, you work hard, you play hard. So that's why I take my vacations extremely seriously. I do post on my vacations a lot still. However, I don't get back to people as quickly. I will say I need to get better on replying to people on little stuff on Instagram if they responded with heart eyes or something, like a best friend or something. But when you have more than one business, so you completely understand it is a lot of pressure. But this is not to scare anybody away or people not want to work with us because they think that we're too busy, because that's not what we're trying to do at all.
No, I think you're just trying to show how much
the behind the scenes. Yeah.
And how much of our lives, without even realizing, can be spent on these different platforms. You blink and your whole life is spent on your phone. How much of it do you really want to spend on your phone? That's the way the world is trending too. You can also argue, that's your social time. That's your means of making income. So all of those things are put into one little tiny box.
It is.
Your phone. I think phones and movies and TV are all really similar, and everything we're talking about, all of these effects and impacts can also be impacts from your phone too, and not just from TV and from movies. But I think it's incredibly important to be able to put it down. Having the gym be an outlet for me quiets that noise. I put my headphones in and I'm on my phone to change my music. There have been times that I've put my phone more recently than not on Do Not Disturb. So
I will say I created a bad habit. It benefits me, but it's bad. I really love walking and I can't sit still often. So what I started doing is replying to stuff while on the treadmill, which is great because it's cardio and I'm literally there for an hour without realizing. However, I have over 10 times gone to the gym, stretched. I usually do the bicycle for 5 minutes to get my legs warmed up after that. And then I'll say, I'm going to start with cardio and then I'm going to lift, which I know people say you should lift first. But anyway, I'm like, I'm just going to start with cardio, 10 minutes. And then I never lift because I'm an hour in. My legs feel like noodles because I've been on incline. I run a little bit. And then I just don't. So all I did that whole time was stretch and cardio. And then after that, I go back to my apartment and I still have things to reply to. My mental health, my jobs. And it's like, so that's why when you mentioned the gym, I was like, okay, I have to get it together and stop.
Yeah, you have to find time to put it down. You have to find time to quiet the noise. And like I said, the gym, I found that I on the treadmill, that's different. I warm up for 10 minutes before my workout, whether that's on incline walking on the treadmill, on the Stairmaster. The only time I don't get on my phone is, it sucks. But when I'm doing those exercises, I will be on my phone. I'll reply to stuff for the most part. There's sometimes where I'm just so angry that I just tune everything out. But for the most part, I'm replying when I'm doing those things. Except for if I'm doing rows, like the seated row, the row machine, you can't be on your phone and hold that. Yeah. And then once I do that, I'm done. I'm not touching it. I'm going to try really hard not to touch it just because you need time to get away.
And you don't want to be impatient or antsy with your clients or half-assed version of yourself to your replies because you haven't taken a break. Rest is just as important. My mom's a psych nurse and she tells me that all the time. Your brain is also an organ and
you have to rest it. Yeah. And what we're talking about as far as mental health, it's not just going to impact your brain. Consuming too much media is going to impact you in other ways that we haven't even talked about. We're talking about going to the gym and consuming media. But what about the people that don't go to the gym and consume media? They're just spending that time on their couch, which is fine and dandy. But that's where we're starting to see obesity trends climb. And I've heard everything from TikTok University, that it's the more oils that we're putting in the food, packaged foods, all that, of course, is going to lead to obesity. But a big factor that I feel like we're just not hitting is the fact that we're on our phones 24/7. That's why we're trending with obesity. That's why the numbers are starting to increase, because I will be honest, if phones didn't exist, I would be out and about doing a lot more than I am now.
Oh yeah.
So it doesn't just impact your brain, it's going to impact your body weight and your
health,
vision too.
And your health, Oh, the vision is a huge one for sure.
Yeah, I have glasses somewhere, my little blue light glasses that I put on, and because staring at a screen my entire life, what the hell is going to happen to our eyesight? We didn't grow up with phones.
I will say I've had a phone since I was 5.
Wow.
My parents work a lot, so when I would go home after school with my sister, they wanted to make sure to have emergency. It was literally one of those 3 number access phones. However, the iPhones and all those came about when we were 8 or 9.
Exactly. And I was doing some research on, when Facebook came out, when Instagram came out after my episode with Yessie, just trying to get a timeline for dating and when that started to go more online. Yeah. And we're looking between the years of 2010 to 2013 when this stuff really started to take off.
Facebook was made as a dating website, wasn't it?
I couldn't.
That's
what
I heard.
I don't really know. I don't want to say
that's hearsay. That's hearsay.
Yeah, I don't want to say anything wrong. Yeah. But my point is, we lived a little bit of our life without it. Kids that are becoming born now, or that are being born now, and 10 years ago, 5 years ago,
it is their whole lives.
They have never known anything without it. I mean, I remember when my parents first got iPhones. I remember when we started to change our TV from a box to a flat screen. We started to advance in this technology. Now, all these babies they have these little monitors in front of their crib to keep them busy. And we are consuming media from the time we're born. As children, little infants.
It's really sad.
Yeah. So I think are the last generation to know a little bit of life without it. But the generation that doesn't know life without it, I think it is so important to talk about everything that we're talking about today.
Go outside and touch grass.
Yeah.
Just your reminder.
Because we need to talk about it, because in other ways, you're just not going to think. It's an unconscious action. You just pick up your phone, you wake up with your phone, and your day goes by, and then poof, your whole life is gone, and you've spent it all on your phone. Yeah. So I think it's really important to talk about media as a whole. We're going to have to change the name of this episode to media and how it impacts us.
For sure. I will say, I'm not really, I don't know, the idea of having kids is a big topic for me because I don't know if I want them. I think I'm just not in a time where I'm ready for them. Granted, if I have a child, I will be very excited. I just know that the life that I live right now, unintentionally, I would turn my child into an iPad kid. And I don't want to do that. That's not the lifestyle that I want for my child. And I'm not judging anyone that does that. However, there's a lot of things that I grew up with that I'm very thankful for. Like, my parents had 6 acres growing up. I took every one of my friends out on our property. We had creeks on the property. We were trespassing to the other properties.
Yeah.
I was walking around Main Street in Bernie. I had no business doing that, but I'm fine, thank God. The people, there's called a place called Salty and Sweet, Sweet and Salty or whatever in Bernie. It was at first a gas station. The gas station owner, Jimmy, and Crystal, his worker, literally like raised me and my best friend, because Bernie was so small at the time. We would walk from our elementary and middle school to the gas station. I had a tab with the owner. I was like 10, and he would let my mom come pick me up. We would hang out there and we would pay him. He just trusted me and my best friend to just like accumulate a ton of snacks, write it down, and we would pay him. Like, and those are things that kids will probably never experience anymore, because one, I would never let my child go to the gas station by themselves because of how dangerous this world has become. Also, at the time, things were very different, so please don't judge my parents. And also, it's just, they don't even think those things are fun. Mm-hmm. I'd rather watch TikTok. I'd rather play my Xbox, because if they're not, they feel like they're missing out. They have FOMO. FOMO is so crazy. Do you know what FOMO is?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah.
I capitalize on that all the time with my clients. Yes. I mean, we all do.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how old we are, from 12 to 70. Yeah. If you have a phone, you see what other people are doing, you're going to have that. Mm-hmm. That's just something that we have built. And it's crazy. I am going to have an episode on nostalgia and things that we used to be able to do that we aren't able to do now.
That's a really good episode idea. I'm
excited for that. I think I might try and get my grandma on board for that one and see.
That is so sweet. I love that. That's a really good idea.
Yeah, but as a kid, I remember very specifically wanting to fly one day. It was so windy. Yeah. Like, the wind was at like a record high in Maryland when we lived out there. And we had these little like picnic blankets that were weighted on all 4 corners. And my mom, it was called a neat sheet. Yeah. And what we did is we climbed on top of the bicycle ramps, because my brother had little bikes at the time, not like a motorcycle, but the bike that you pedal, and you go up over the ramp and you just jump over the ramp. You know what I'm talking about? And so I got on top of this ramp and I had my neat sheet in hand, huge picnic blanket. Yeah. I'm like 10, 11 years old, and I'm jumping from this little tiny platform trying to fly. Aww. And that's something that these kids... Didn't you
go skydiving?
Yeah, I did. That was a lot of fun.
So you did fly?
Do what?
You did fly.
I did fly. I did, kind of downwards. That was scary. Yeah.
But still technically,
I got to live my dream of flying.
Yeah.
But that's something that kids nowadays would see on TikTok and then decide to do. Or they would do it for a TikTok video. That was just some shit I thought up on my own. And I thought I was genius.
And is there any video of it?
No.
So, like... There's so many things that we did without a phone being involved, and it's just like a fun story, which we could be making stories up, which Lauren isn't. However, that's just like a crazy life. That was things that were going on that there's no footage of. Mm-hmm. You can't share it.
So was it real?
Yeah, but it's crazy because whoever was there with you, you share that story with just them. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So it's that much more special because it's private.
Yeah.
You know?
Nowadays, if you do something and you don't have photo proof, it didn't happen.
It didn't happen. Pics or it didn't happen.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Let's go ahead and jump in to children and adolescents. And this is really what's going to end our podcast. Children and adolescents really tie into this pretty well because... I mean, like you said, it's completely different. Yeah. Then versus now. It was completely different being a kid. So how has exposure to media impacted children? That's one thing that I really am kind of passionate about just because of how I was raised, how my mom raised me. Do I agree with it? One thing that I found was research has shown that exposure to violence in movies and TV can have a significant impact on the health of children and adolescents. This exposure has been linked to aggressive behavior, desensitization, thank you, to violence, nightmares, and fear of harm. That's so crazy because it's so true. I mean, did you ever watch a scary movie as a kid?
I watched it when I was 3 and I still am terrified.
Yep. I watched Scream, the comedy version of version of Scary Movie. Yeah, I think it was called The Scary Movie. Scary Movie.
Scary movies.
I was absolutely terrified.
Yeah.
And that impacted me to the point where I very vividly remember scenes from this movie, and I don't think it really linked to aggressive behavior, but I can tell you that there have been times where I've mimicked things that I saw in movies as a kid because I saw it in a movie, and I definitely shouldn't have watched that movie. I don't think my mom ever knew that I watched some of these movies, but
if your mom's listening now, she knows.
Yeah, I know now she wouldn't care. She's like, that's why you're so nuts. But another one that really got me thinking is the fear of harm. You know, exposing kids to this media where somebody gets hurt. Now you've unlocked new fears for them. Kind of like TikTok does for us. Oh shit, new fear fucking unlocked. Like, thank you, TikTok. That's what we're doing to these kids. Are we creating people that are so anxiety ridden because they've seen so many horrible things?
You know what else is really sad? The behind the scenes shit that goes on in Hollywood, that a lot of these kids are having to act these things out with creepy ass directors and weird. I'm not saying every single person in Hollywood is bad, but a lot of the Disney actors and Nickelodeon have came out about a lot of bad stuff that happens. So we're, as kids, watching other kids, not realizing that the kids are also probably going through a million times worse than what we're actually seeing. It's crazy.
Like the girl from iCarly, Sam. And there's so many stories of that. What? Britney Spears, too, has been, you know, since she was a kid. There's so many stories of these kids. Oh, Hollywood's going to be a different episode. I definitely want to do that one with you. But just what goes on in Hollywood. I know they have all these rituals and things that we see. And I saw something on TikTok, of course, the other day of all these actors coming to Hollywood parties dressed, and somebody bedazzled their entire body red. I don't know if you...
Doja Cat.
Yes.
I love Doja, but that was very scary for me. Yeah.
And think about the Hunger Games, how all of the elite were so elaborately dressed, and then meanwhile, we're over here fighting for egg prices in the grocery store. And that was just a holy shit moment. I haven't eaten
eggs in so long.
Yeah, because they're so fucking expensive.
Actually, I had a boiled egg at work today. But besides that, I have not eaten an egg I've paid for in a while.
Yeah. Yep. And so that's another episode, too, that I would love to have you back on for. Because
absolutely. Yeah, we can dive into that more later.
Just the fact that children are seeing all of this stuff really early on, I think it's really going to create a bunch of mental health issues. You're going to be seeing kids with way more anxiety than what we have because they've grown up watching things from the beginning that they shouldn't have ever seen until they were adults.
And the subliminal stuff, just go online and watch YouTube, look up subliminal messages Disney. There's a lot in Disney movies.
Yes.
Like Lion King. I'm not dogging on Disney because I still watch Disney movies and I don't want anyone to cancel me if they see me watching something eventually. It's just, for me, as an aunt, I'm also a godmother and a lover of children. It's really sad and crazy how easily we can get influenced. I don't know how to explain it, how they can trick us so easily. Like,
you get so wrapped up into it.
Yeah, and without people realizing it's a lot about the money.
We have so many more episode topics that we need to talk about.
And now that we're like newfound friends, we can literally just go to dinner and talk about these things.
Yes. And I definitely want to talk about conspiracies and all of this stuff. I think this is so intriguing. And this podcast is not the truth. You know, this is not this is not the way, the life. This
the truth.
Is, I'm like quoting the Bible here.
Okay. Preach, girl.
We are not Jesus.
Yeah.
This is just purely for fun. This is just conversational.
Yeah.
Having a great fucking time talking in my apartment. This is nothing more than that. So I don't want anybody to come for me and be like, oh yeah, says the Harvard lawyer. It's all opinions.
Dang, I hope that they don't dog me that hard because I'm kind of sensitive. But I have done the social media thing for a long time. Yeah. And I have gotten my fair share of
harassment. I doubt they're going to shit on you for that. But
I hope not.
Anyways. So we're talking about how consuming an excessive amount of media can really impact the way that children think and how they develop. So research has shown that children begin to comprehend child-directed television around the age of 2. However, little is known about the comprehension of content encountered on touch devices by young and infant toddlers. Like you were saying, we don't really know how much it's going to impact them, but it has to. I mean, at a minimum, their eyesight.
Yeah.
Because you're exposing them to something that's not natural. And now you can argue, okay, well, having a house isn't natural, so then, really nothing's natural. But you're putting a device in somebody's face, a little baby. You're putting a device in their face. So even if we don't know exactly how it's going to impact them, it's going to come out that their vision's going to be fucked in the future.
Yeah.
The last point that I found on this is the content of TV shows can also have an influence on adolescents' beliefs and attitudes.
It's crazy because people don't realize there's scary, weird-ass people out there that literally, for a living, just sit on their computer and try to manipulate children.
Amber Redhead. So, quick story time. And we can kind of start to wrap things up. But Amber Redhead was a girl that I found on Instagram when I secretly, mind you, all of this stuff that I have access to.
Secretly?
Oh yeah, it was all secret. I hid everything from my mother. I got in a lot of trouble. I wasn't watching Girl Code with permission. I was sneaking and watching TV in the middle of the night on volume at 1 and really close to the TV so I could hear it. I wasn't allowed to do any of this shit.
Yeah.
But anyways, I was on Instagram. It was like 2012, right after Instagram first came out. I found this girl, she found me, named Amber Redhead, and she lived in Australia, and we talked, we messaged all the time, direct message. She was my friend, and I didn't have a lot of friends.
I already know where this is going,
because I was a weird kid. Nobody fucking liked me because I had red hair. That's a whole other thing.
Really?
Yes. Oh my gosh, nobody liked me.
I have a couple redhead people in my friend and family group, and that makes me really sad.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Well, it wasn't until I moved to Texas that people actually liked me because my hair. I had a shitty time growing up in Maryland. But anyways, so Amber Redhead was my friend, and eventually, somehow, my mom ended up finding out, but I guess backtracking.
Yeah.
So she asked me to send a picture of a squirrel. She was like, we don't have squirrels in Australia. We have a lot of really crazy animals, because I asked her about kangaroos, but we don't have squirrels. And she's like, can you send me a picture of one? I've never seen one. So I go and I take a picture of the squirrel on the back patio, and I send it to her. And it was a few days after that my mom ended up having a really weird feeling, or maybe it was that day we were talking about gut feelings earlier. She had a really sickening feeling, so she went through my little iPod and she found that I had been direct messaging this Amber Redhead. And my mom dug into it further and what the fuck is this? This person is asking for a photo, and we still have this. If you don't know, when you take pictures, your geotag, your location, your coordinates appear on that picture. And so that's the back end data of that photo. So if you're sending that photo and you've allowed your camera to have access to that, you're sending that to somebody else. So sending that picture of the squirrel, I was sending this sick motherfucker that could have been next door to me a picture of where I live, or a picture of the squirrel that had the coordinates of where I live
to your house.
My house. And so my mom found it.
I just got the chills. I kind of knew that, but now I need to be very... What about if you screenshot a picture and then recrop it?
That's different.
If you're somewhere else?
That's different. And there's a setting on your phone.
You're going to have to help me, because that's really scary.
There's a setting, and I don't know if I don't think it translates through if you're posting it on a platform like Instagram or Facebook. I'm not sure. I should know this, but I don't.
Really quick, Harry Styles posted something a while back, and fan bases are crazy. Somehow somebody figured out when it was taken. I know how to do the when it was taken and where it was taken and all that from social media. Just by saving the picture he posted, they were able to figure it. So I think we might have to research that more, because that's really scary.
Yeah. I have it turned off on my phone. Since that incident, since it grew up a little bit, my mom talked to me about it. I've turned it off so that my phone can't read where I'm taking a picture at. But a lot of my friends, if they send me a picture, it'll pop up. Go on your iPhone right now. You pop up your camera roll and it says locations, and you can click and you can see all the different locations that your pictures were taken.
I like that for my organization purposes, but not for that purpose.
I don't even use it. The only photos that it identifies is pictures that people's
sent faces.
Me. But my point being, I
Oh
was
my God,
so
that is really
naive
scary.
as a kid. And thank God my mom found it. I don't know what she did after, but I
Did
know
she explain to you like, hey, this is what was going on?
she did. I just didn't understand. I was so young, Destiny. I was way too little to
Yeah.
be comprehending this stuff. But because I had this media in my face, I thought it was okay. And it's just crazy to see this is the stuff I was doing then. What can kids get into trouble doing now?
So sad because there's a missing girl named, I don't remember if it's Alice or Alicia. She had autism and she had a familiar relationship with somebody named something and Amber Redhead vibes. And the person abducted her and they still have no idea where she's at.
Yeah.
There's a YouTube video and her mom talks about it. It's really sad thinking that, you know, she was just having a good time probably on her computer, not being able to comprehend that there's actually really bad people out there. Even my mom doesn't understand that there's really evil people out there. When I go eat at certain places, I try not to post where I work much. I don't post my license plate. I don't post where I'm going, or if I do, I'm going to post it in maybe another time. I try to stay extremely careful. And what's scary is we're saying all these things and there's a creeper out there probably like, oh my God, they're really safe. That means we have to get better at what we're doing.
But at the same time, it makes you less of an easy target. It's like how they talk to you about walking alone in a parking lot. If you're walking back to your car, you know, have your keys in your hand. Don't have your phone in your face. Be fucking alert.
Vigilant,
Look around.
yeah.
Walk with intention. Know where you're going. That makes you less of a target. Nobody's going to want to try and target you.
Instead of being like this, like...
Yes. So I think it's the same thing with this.
Yeah.
If you're taking precautions, I think you're going to be a little bit, you know, okay, I'm not going to go for her
Yeah.
unless somebody has a sick obsession with you, and that's different. But that's another thing that we need to definitely jump in another time and talk about is with the amount that we were putting ourselves out there. You know, you say you put yourself out there a lot on social media. I put myself out there
I've had
a lot
stalkers.
in a different way.
I've had a stalker before, yeah.
And as we get older, are those things going to increase? It's just so easy. It's so easy to find people nowadays.
We're at an increased possibility of things happening, which is very scary. Yeah. And a risk in this lifestyle. Yeah. Ooh,
Wow.
That's deep.
That's
That's
good.
so good, though. It's so deep.
We're definitely, what was the name of it? Cinematic Echoes? I feel like we're going to have to change that to Technology Echoes.
Yeah.
That's actually a pretty good name.
I try to stay on topic. I can stay within the lines, but I'm always going to get out of the box. I'm sorry. I should have warned you.
Too.
I haven't podcasted in so long. So I kind of forgot that I do that.
Okay. It's okay. No, I'm okay with it.
It just flowed so well that I was like, I can't stop.
I agree. I think that it's so... She's over here snoring. Touching on our main points is that media, no matter what it is, whether it's a movie, music, TikTok, Instagram, social media, TV shows, that can all have a dramatic impact on our mental health, our psychological, you know, well-being, our emotional health, and it can impact
things
us in
we're
good
buying.
ways. Yeah, and it can
Things we're
impact
saying.
us in so many good ways and bad ways. That it could really change your life for the better or it can change your life for the worst. I think the biggest takeaway for this episode would just be to be aware of how your media is affecting you.
And how you're perceiving things and how you're feeling before and after being on a certain thing or watching a certain video. Mindless scrolling it's
just habit.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's an easy way to pass time.
As humans going into more and more of a technology-based culture, we really need to be aware of how the phones are going to impact us and our actions and our everything from, I mean, even with this whole chat GPT thing coming out, it teaches us so much. So I think we just need to learn to be aware of what it's teaching us and evaluate and have that emotional intelligence to be able to figure out, is this good? Is this not good?
Absolutely.
But thank you so much for coming on. It was such a good episode.
Thank you for having me. Thank you. I hope y'all don't cancel me.
Thank
you
you
for having me, Lauren. I'll be praying for you in all your future endeavors, and we'll be working together a lot more.
Yes, ma'am. Likewise.
Thank you.
Alrighty. Well, that's it for Nothing About Something. Thank you so much for tuning in. And be sure to rate and subscribe our podcast because that is the only way that we're going to continue to grow. The first episode had a really overwhelming amount of of support. All of, I think, 35 listeners, which is pretty damn good.
Yeah, that's really good. 35 people. Imagine 35 people watching you.
Yeah. Yep. And then every episode continuing to grow. So if you haven't already, go ahead and follow our podcast, rate our podcast, just give us some stars, even if you haven't listened to it yet. Still just show us some love and then go back and listen to it.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in, and have a great rest of your day.
Thank y'all. See you later.
Bye.